Before departing from the British capital, where he was one of the participants in European summit focused on security for Ukraine and ending the Russia-Ukrainian war, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky emphasized that he has no intention of apologizing to US President Donald Trump or expressing any regret about what took place in the Oval Office during their meeting. Zelensky called his visit to the United States a sign of respect and disagreed with the idea that he should make another attempt to meet with Trump. He recalled that he has traveled by train for about 11 hours and then flew for another 11 hours because he considered the invitation from the US President to the White House to be a gesture of respect from the United States. However, he once again stressed that he is ready to sign an agreement on the use of natural resources, which according to him is prepared for signing. It is known that numerous officials from Trump administrations have proposed that Zelensky apologize to the US president as a condition for continuing American-Ukrainian dialogue. This was particularly mentioned by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. The atmosphere of requiring an apology to Trump is now less about US foreign policy and more about the behavioral style within Trump's team. This can be observed of how high-ranking American officials interact with him, from Vice President J.D. Vance, who emphasizes his respect for Trump even in meetings with foreign guests, to Republican senators and congressmen who almost unanimously defended Trump after his talks with Zelensky in the White House. At the same time, Zelensky's statement made it clear that he is trying to move past the situation that unfolded during the Ukrainian delegation's visit to Washington. Perhaps this desire to ease tensions was one of the reasons for his remarks to journalists before leaving the UK. British journalists specifically noted that Zelensky gave them an interview in Ukrainian through a translator instead of speaking in English, as he sometimes does, likely to express his thought precisely regarding US-Ukrainian relations and European initiatives to resolve the war between Russia and Ukraine. Zelensky also responded positively to British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's plan for ending hostilities in Ukraine and said he is aware of Starmer's and French President Emmanuel Macron's proposal for temporary ceasefire at sea, in the air, and regarding attacks on infrastructure. As is known, Macron and Starmer put forward this initiative immediately after the European Leaders' Summit in London. However, Zelensky did not explicitly state his position on the proposal, but emphasized that he is informed about it. Another person aware of Starmer and Macron initiative, of course, is US President Donald Trump. However, it is unclear how he will respond to this proposal from European leaders who have tried to maintain contact with him following his dispute at the White House. Today, Trump, who is set to return from Mar-a-Lago to the White House, may discuss the next steps regarding US-Ukraine cooperation with his closest advisors, including Senate Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and other team members. Following the White House meetings, senior officials from Trump administration warned that the US might completely cut off military aid to Ukraine in response to Zelensky's actions, as well as the fact that the natural resource agreement seen by Trump as domestic political safeguard to justify continued US military support for Ukraine was not signed during Zelensky's visit. It is also worth noting that neither President Trump nor other members of his administration have clearly outlined security guarantees for Ukraine in case the agreement is signed. They only repeat that the mere presence of American companies willing to develop Ukrainian natural resources would automatically serve as a guarantee against any attack on Ukraine. However, these claims do not align with historical realities or basic logic, especially given Trump's repeated statements that the US itself will not be involved in defending Ukraine, meaning that even American company employees working on Ukrainian resource development would not be protected. In this situation, Trump will now have to decide Whether he is willing to give up the only real tool of leverage over Russian President Vladimir Putin, military and financial aid to Ukraine, or if he never intended to pressure Putin in the first place and instead sees him as a partner in resolving the issues in Europe caused by Russian aggression. Notably, Trump and his closest allies refuse to even refer to Russians' actions as aggression. Thank you for watching, have a nice day, and Slava Ukraini!